بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. We continue reading from Jawahir al-Quran, the jewels of the Quran, and we shall return to the paragraph that included the mukataba between the slave and the owner, and we said that this is an agreement between the slave and the owner to set the slave free in exchange for some work, for example, or a certain monetary value. And the Prophet ﷺ asked the companions to pitch in, if you will, to help one of those slaves to hasten, to shorten the period. I think it was planting a certain number of palm trees. So in this paragraph we have read also the as for specialty with regard to females described in the verses concerning marriage, divorce, withdrawal from divorce, for example, marriages, of course, the conditions for marriage in general is that there should be witnesses, to male witnesses. There should be dowry known. It should be the marriage should be public. In the sense that the community needs to know who married who. And divorce, there are different issues within divorce. If it does take place, and one should not really venture into if the verbal divorce took place in a state of anger that blurs one's ability, I'm talking about the male, the husband, blurs one's ability to judge, and then the divorce might not take place. But this is why one goes to the mufti in this case before going to the judge. Withdrawal from divorce: if a woman is divorced, she stays at the in the same house, in the same, everything is the same, and unless there is real danger to her life, such as in certain cases of domestic abuse, then she should stay in her house with him after divorce. And the return from divorce in one case would be simply a practical, just if he resumes the intimate relationship with her, that's the end of the divorce. Within the three, when we say 3 months, really we talk about the thalath quru. We talk about 3 menstruation if she does menstruate, not considering the one in which she was divorced, and that in itself might be a reason why the divorce might not take place. At any rate, the legal period of retirement assigned to a widow or divorced woman before she may marry again, we have just mentioned one form. The khula, we said that this is divorce initiated by a woman It might entail some payment to the husband, but it could be returning the dowry, for example. The dowry itself is a must in marriage. This is the right of the wife. That's her money, absolutely her money. Let's make it clear that the financial financially a wife is absolutely independent in terms of how she handles her money. Few weeks ago, a concerned father showed me a contract that his son-in-law forced his daughter, like for he forced his wife, the daughter of this man, to sign a contract um, in which the husband gave her dowry, but she signed that she would not be able to use this money without his approval. That's, this is not really in Islam. Her money is her money. Her financial obligations, if her money is if it reaches what we call nisab, the zakatable amount, then she should also give the zakah, the regular almsgiving. And if she wants to give gifts, I know how people after marriage they just control the wealth of their wives. This is and of course sometimes they just don't give them their rights. This is not really in line with Islam. The we have then ila, and this is an oath that a husband might take, in which he takes oath not to have intimate relationship with his wife, and this is usually to cause harm to the wife, and the Quran puts a limit to this ila, that it's really 4 months. You cannot go beyond this because of the severe harm, and obviously this is for the in a sense it's for people who are still having an intimate relationship, uh, and scholars differed about the how you end the ila. Does the why is the wife does the wife basically get divorced automatically upon the end of the 4 months, or is it that the husband still has to divorce at the end of these? So scholars differed about this, and the in this is a habit that also existed in pre-Islamic period, but there was no limit on the period of the ila. The during this period, these 4 months, if the husband simply resumes the intimate relationship, that's considered fa, that he that's the end of the ila. We spoke about the har, and that's considering the wife like the as if this is like the as if she's like the back of his mother. Uh, okay, this should be from the husband to the wife. and it's also it could be in a moment of anger, if the husband does make such a statement, usually conditioning the behavior of the wife. He should basically repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If he says to her, like, you are like the back of my mother, or my sister, or my grandmother, or something like that, making her kind of haram, then he should repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, set a slave man or slave woman free. If he could not, that's the order. If not, then fasting 2 consecutive months. If not, then feeding 60 needy persons. Each one of them, each miskin, each needy person will have half a sa', and that's the equivalent of 2 handfuls um, of wheat, for example. The We are left with the li'an, and the context for this. The context for li'an is that the husband, uh, in the typically it's uh, to avoid the punishment for qadhf, which is really uh, the accusation of the wife in this case of either committing adultery or denying that a child is his, uh, and to avoid the punishment for qadhf al-muhsanat, then there's a certain procedure of taking oath. Uh, it could be that he saw her committing adultery. It could be simply that he believed that she's committed adultery, but in all cases, um, he will take oaths that uh, he's right, and she will take oaths that he is wrong. Four oaths in each case, and incurring the wrath of God on himself. And when she takes the four oaths, that she every time she would say that he did not see me committing adultery, etc., some form of that, and she would incur the wrath of God on her, the curse, the wrath. In the fifth one, he would incur practically cursing himself. In the fifth one, and in the fifth one, for her, she is incurring the wrath of God. Then, without using any other technical terminology in Arabic, it says here, and also in the verses concerning those women with whom marriage is unlawful because of blood relationship, suckling, and relationship through marriage. We spoke in some detail about the suckling, but uh, uh, marriage is definitely is unlawful because of blood relationship. Of course, we talk about mothers, grandmothers, granddaughters, uh, nieces, aunts. All of these are prohibited to marry. Um, it seems that in Judaism, because I met a Jew long time ago, decades ago, who was married to his niece. A relationship through marriage, the prohibition of marriage, um, because of the here it محرمات النسب أو محرمات النسب والمصاهرة. The mother-in-law becomes prohibited to marry in the absolute sense, even if he divorces the the daughter. If he's married to the woman, her daughter, and he consummates the marriage, then her daughter uh, becomes prohibited to him. The sister of his wife is temporarily prohibited to him as long as he's married. Say, for example, that she passes away, and then he can marry the sister. I think it's enough for these technical categories. Imam Ghazali continues by saying the means of repelling those elements which corrupt both the soundness of the body and the continuance of offspring are the punishments which restrain man from those elements. Uh, these punishments are like war with the infidels and unjust people, and incitement to it, penalties, indemnities, reproofs, atonements, blood ransoms, and retaliation. Retaliation and blood ransom are prescribed as a deterrent from a man's effort to destroy the life and limb of another. The penalties the concept of the an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, but in practice the ransom is an alternative to such a practice. I'm not aware of anyone practicing this, and there is a certain value for each limb here, rather than destroying the life and the limb of another. A whole ransom, blood ransom, for a whole person, and a certain part for each part of the body. The penalties for theft and highway robbery are prescribed as a means of repelling that which destroys wealth, which is the means of livelihood. Theft, of course, it has to be to reach a certain amount, and so if somebody steals a loaf of bread, then there is something during a time of famine, for example, that's not really the judge should make sure that the quote unquote the thief is referred to the relevant social services and that he is taken care of. Highway robbery, we're talking about now about armed robbery, and this is the punishment for this is very severe. Really, I'm not going to go into details. The penalties for adultery, homosexuality, and false accusation are prescribed. False accusation, talk about qadf, are prescribed as deterrents from that which disorders the matters of offspring and lineages, and corrupts the means of the continuance of the human species and successive generations. Now, since we talk about the preservation of lineage also, let me just simply say a few things here. No, no, no donation of semen or ovum. In both cases, they are prohibited. There was someone in the West who was prohibited ultimately from donating more semen because you talk about hundreds of women recipients, and because they prohibited him from doing so in I think it was in the United States, he started donating in other countries. God knows why he's doing this. And in certain countries, you cannot know who is the donor. In certain countries, I think like in Canada, you can know. You can just simply, there's a certain procedure. And a young woman wanted to know her father. And she ultimately found who was the biological father, and she found that that also the other recipients, if you will, meaning that her siblings, all haram and haram and haram, but they are her siblings, brothers and sisters, biological brothers and sisters, and he agreed to meet them, and he met them, and he tried to emphasize that he is not responsible for them, that he has no legal responsibility, that he did what he did because he was a student at the time in the university, and while the law it prohibits selling the semen, they would still compensate him for traveling to the clinic where they take, they receive his semen, was like a backdoor for paying him some money, some pocket money, as a student at the time. And they were practically in the same region, in the same area living, so technically they could marry each other, had it not been the case that they know now who they are because of the sheer number of the siblings. There was a chance, there was a possibility that they will marry each other. And remember, the one who donated hundreds of times, this is all haram. So that's really one thing. One cannot also donate the reproductive organs no surrogate motherhood. Yeah, so there are certain things that are included in the preservation of offspring and lineages, and this is why a woman would do. There's a waiting period for the woman after she's either divorced or she becomes a widow, so that and she it is prohibited for her if she is pregnant. It's prohibited for her to hide this, because for the waiting period for the pregnant woman is delivery. So war with the infidels enjoined as repelling that which will be caused by the deniers of truth, namely disorder of the means of livelihood and worship by both, of which the task of attaining to God is accomplished. War with unjust people is ordered to repel the confusion which will appear when the disobedient people slip from the control of the religious government, which is entrusted to the one that is the in translation here it says the king. It's not necessarily a king. It could be uh, a caliph, it could be a prince, it could be uh, a president if it's really today a republic, though the institution itself is not of the caliphate is not ruled out altogether, with prophecy about a return of such institution in the future. So this one who is entrusted with public order, with according to the law, religious law, who guards those who traverse the path of God and support the righteous, as a deputy of the messenger of the Lord of all worlds. The deputy here is as a political leader, not as a prophet, of course. That's it. The verses revealed concerning these matters are not hidden from you. They embody fundamental principles, advantages, wisdom, and benefits, which all are comprehended by the one who reflects upon the beauties of the revealed law, which describes the bounds of judgments concerning the matters of this life. The sixth division of the Quranic verses also include that which is termed lawful, unlawful, and the bounds of God. It is in the verses falling under this division that the strongest mosque is to be found as a category of verses. These six divisions then form the confluence of those teachings which are contained in the surahs of the Quran and their verses. Should you thread these six divisions together with their intended branches on one string, you will find that there are 10 types. They concern the divine essence, divine attributes, divine works, the life to come, the straight path, Sirat al-Mustaqim, that is the purification and beautification of the soul, the conditions of the saints, the conditions. This states the conditions of God's enemies, his arguments with the infidels, the divine arguments against the infidels, and finally the bounds of legal judgments, the al-ahkam. Next is branching off of all sciences from the 10 divisions of the Quran and explanation of grades of sciences. Inshallah, this we will um, read and discuss in the next session with Allah Azza Jalla. Until then, subhanakallah wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.